talking about this year is their new jerseys. It's going to be a long season in Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving forward, we got 13th place Nashville Predators, 2-3-0. Not surprising, really. I mean, in my opinion, the last several years they've overachieved. I mean, they've played. They've played
all thanks to Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, they've played far, far, far better than they should have the last few years. Obviously, losing Suter didn't help, and obviously having their coach Trotz. He's one of the best coaches in the league. He's really carried them forward with a great defensive system. They don't look particularly good. I don't think they're making the playoffs at all. I will say this, though. Seth Jones looks awesome. He looks great.
He scored his first goal the other night against New York, and he's going to have a great season. It's going to be awesome to watch the Calder race this year. Just so much talent on the ice. He was the age of 20.
Yeah, he was a steal for them. I mean, remember, he was projected to go first overall, like halfway through last season. He was just like consummate first overall. Everyone thought he'd be the first pick. He fell to fourth. So when he falls to fourth, Nashville just must have been drooling the fact that this kid could play with Weber on the top pairing. And how about being Seth Jones, right? You come into the NHL, who's the guy that you share the ice time with? Shea Weber, one of the best defensemen in the world. So I mean, you must be loving life if you're Seth Jones right now. But much like McKinnon, he looks ready to go. He doesn't look like a rookie out there. He looks very steady, very solid. You definitely see that glimpse of that offensive ability, and it's not out of the realm of possibility to think a couple years from now he might be the best defenseman in the world. He's got the full capabilities to be the next Chris Pronger and be one of the top defensemen in the NHL. So, I mean, it was a steal for Nashville to get him, and obviously Nashville always seems to have this incredibly deep defense. So, a couple years from now, Predators fans will not mind having Suter playing against them when you got Seth Jones playing the way he will be playing, and I'm guaranteeing you that he's going to be a great, great defenseman. But that's not enough for this year. Nashville is not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. No playoff appearance for them.
No playoffs for you. Come back 1 year. So 14th spot, the last place position, Edmonton Oilers, 1-3-1. Once again, they look like the Edmonton Oilers, all that young talent, and they just cannot find it. They just cannot take that next step. It's starting to be a little bit comical. I mean, it's been like we've been saying this for the past 3 years now. Like, okay, this is the year. Okay, this is the year. And Colorado's made the jump. Even Winnipeg has sort of made the jump. New York Islanders have made the jump. When are the Oilers going to take that next step and finally wrap up all that talent into this dominant package, which they should be able to do by now?
I disagree with you. I think that I don't even think they're going to be great this year. I think it's going to be next season. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
21. I didn't think that last year was going to be their breakout year either. They have a lot of talent, but when you look at the young players doing really well, they have a lot of leadership and a lot of great guys on their lines that have been in the NHL for a long time. Edmonton doesn't have that. They're building young, but that's all they have is youth. That's it. Taylor Hall's 21, Eberle's 24, Schultz is 23, Hopkins is 20, Yakupov's 19. Like, come on, right? I mean, there's nobody. Ryan Smith is the only guy on the team, and to lead these guys as a veteran role. And he's not even like normally a first line forward. You know, he's maybe a top six on your team, and I just think that's Edmonton's problem. So it's going to take them a little more time than some of the other younger rosters in the league to find their groove. And especially with a young coach now, that resets them almost. But I think that it's still the right move. I'm not worried about this roster. I think that they are going to be a force to be reckoned with, probably from the season of 2015 on. But I'm not surprised that they're at the bottom right now. I think that's fully expected based on how young their roster is, and it's not a bad thing. I think they're going to be great, and they just need to find those roles for those young guys. Andrew
Ference was a very good pickup. He looks very good. I'm really questioning Devan Dubnyk as their starter. I didn't think he was a starter last year, and I still don't this year. I think Edmonton needs goaltending more than anything else. I'm not a fan of Dubnyk. I don't think he is a starter in the NHL, at least not yet. But he's not that young.
I agree with you now.
He's not that young. He's not that young anymore either. Like, I wouldn't say he's growing pains. I think they legitimately need goaltending more than anything else. Trade one of your hotshot young forwards that you have a plethora of and get a star goalie. You know,
But who do you trade? How can you justify? Like, the thing about goaltending is that it's so inconsistent. You can get a goal. Like, let's look at Kerry Lettinen, who led the league in shutouts one year. Let's look at Jaguar, who won a Stanley Cup and hasn't been back since. Antti Niemi, same story. you could give away a guy like Neil Yakupov, and you think you're getting some awesome goalie, and all of a sudden he's done.
Well, no, I mean, if you do that trade, though, like, if it is a Yakupov, like, you would be getting back a goaltender of, like, Carey Price's caliber. That's what I'm saying. Like, if
even still, look at Carey Price. Like, we keep talking about Carey Price, and he's playing great, but we all know that he could fall off his game at any minute. Like, there's no safe goalie in the league right now, not a single one. Ryan Miller's probably one of the best athletic goalies in the NHL, and he's just going to get shelled every game this season.
Honestly, though, with all that offensive talent up there, I think that's going to happen. I think they are going to have to get rid of well, they just signed Hopkins to a long-term deal. So, I mean, obviously, Eberle, Hopkins, and Hall, that is your starting line. And to be fair, Hall and Eberle have looked very good so far this year. And Hopkins, obviously, going forward,
coming back from injury.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked decent as well, and he's going to be a great player. But you know what? As crazy as it sounds, you may see that happen. You may see them ship off Neil Yakupov for and I'm saying when you get a goalie in return, I'm saying it's like top 5 in the league. Like, I'm saying you would be getting a guy like Miller or Price, and yes, it would be a risk. But going the other way around, it might be a risk for the team. Like, what if Yakupov doesn't develop into the next Alexander Ovechkin, which may happen. We don't know. We can't guarantee that Yakupov is going to be a star in this league. I mean, it's most likely that he will. He looks great, and he's very talented. But honestly, for the Oilers to take that next step, unless Dubnyk just plays out of this world and shuts everyone up, which I don't see happening, I could see that happening. I could see you trading a guy like Yakupov, or maybe even a package deal like a Gagne and a pick for a decent goaltender. But I could see them moving somebody off their roster, one of their offensive guys, to get a goalie. I could see that happening in the offseason. Probably not at the deadline because they're not going to be in a playoff position most likely. But I could see that next offseason, them shipping off maybe Gagne and a pick, or maybe a Yakupov for
the only way
a star goalie.
Would happen, and that this would be hilarious. But let's say Edmonton wins the draft.
Yeah,
they're going for the first goalie. They got to go for the first goalie. I mean, like, it's almost stupid to say that because, like, you never, like, next year the first round pick, I don't know the prospects already, but this year it's, forwards for the first 20 players before you even see a goalie.
Yeah.
But that would be what you would have to do. You'd have to, like, try and find a way to draft an excellent goalie if you're not going to solve the problem this year, because I agree with you. Devin Dubnyk is 27 years old. His opportunity of time has been passed. Maybe you give him the chance this season just because you have to, but other than that, he's done. He's done, and Edmonton needs goaltending. They need goaltending, and they need size. Those are things that they are just without, and they aren't going to be competitive without.
What about this? Nail Yakupov and Devin Dubnyk for Robin Lehner, Ottawa.
See, that scares me because and the other argument with the goalie thing too is,
I mean, Anderson's
put the goalie in the net, and that's it. The goalie's in the net, and he does what he does.
Anderson's pretty.
You can try him on different lines. You can try him in different positions. There's a little more flexibility with a forward or a defenseman than there is with a goalie.
Yeah, but
the goalie's got his pipes and his pads.
Leonard's going to be a star. He's the best young goalie in the NHL, bar none. Like, he's going to be a starter probably next year, if not the year after. I mean, Ottawa's quickly approaching the Canucks syndrome, where you got two pretty much bona fide starters, and you got to get rid of one of them. Anderson's going to be their goalie for the foreseeable future. He's still decently young, and he's terrific. So, I mean, Anderson's going to be their guy probably for the next 4 or 5 years. So Leonard is not going to be on that team forever. And if you have the ability to get a guy like Yakupov, yes, you are trading probably the best young goalie in the NHL, much like LA probably felt when they got rid of Bernier, because he's going to be a stud. But if you can get a guy back like Yakupov, which there aren't many of those guys out there, I mean, that's a win-win trade in my mind for both teams. Granted, we're playing armchair GM here, and realistically that trade isn't happening. But I could see something like that going down in the offseason, where a guy like Yakupov goes for a guy like Leonard, where both teams get something that they need, right? I mean, Ottawa...
If something does happen, I'd love to see it by the trade deadline, because I'm tired of 3 or 4 trade deadline seasons now that have been completely dead.
I know, right?
Like, moves are being made like a week before, and they're not even that big, and by the time you get to the deadline, you get nothing. So yeah. I hope you're right, and I hope it happens at the deadline, because I'd love to see some shuffling around, some teams trying to make runs to the postseason, and some major names being moved around. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely, bud. Well, hey, this has been one hell of a show. It's good hearing from you. Happy Thanksgiving. And we will be seeing you guys next Sunday evening. So, yeah. We are the Bandwagoners. My name is Andy Cole.
And my name is Justin Boniface. Thanks for listening.
Have a good night.